I'm sharing certain concepts, and then I'll be working with you in after introducing each concept. There will be a certain activity, and in that activity you will be executing what you have understood as what concepts have been introduced. You can be practicing that, and by the end of this session, each one of you here will be able to take away for your own enterprise or organization an action plan on how to build a networked enterprise, a 90-day plan which you can implement, which will be unique to you. It is not going to be any activity that we are going to do is not going to be group, it will be individual. There will be a sprinkling of Sanskrit words. I think this audience should not have any problems with using Sanskrit, because the nuances of the meaning that the language carries cannot sometimes be adequately conveyed by English because of the refinement in which and the various padarthams that are there in Sanskrit. It is better to understand the Sanskrit. What I have always provided an English equivalent, but if you can understand the nuances in the Sanskrit entirety, that will be very useful for you, because you'll be able to appreciate that nuance better. So building a networked enterprise, I'm sure you all have some idea of networks because you are part of a network. You came into a network with a purpose. You came into a BBB network, or you went into a Rotary network, or you went into your alumni group network, or there is a small family WhatsApp group. Each and every single activity that you do in a day, somehow or the other, is connected to some network or the other. Because as human beings, we are herd animals. We need to work in groups. We need the effort and the support of each other, and we need the collective security, because essentially man physically is not the strongest one in the planet, but he has emerged as the strongest one in the planet because of two things: his extraordinary ability to think and create something, and the ability to work together in unison. So these two important distinctions separate us in terms of how we actually look at life. Hence, coming together and staying together is not something which you cannot avoid, which you can avoid basically. Only those small minority of people who choose to be sannyasis, who forsake the world, can be alone. So very small minority actually can be out of the earth. Keeping that in mind, what we are going to walk through today is essentially trying to build a framework for your business enterprise using ancient wisdom but applying it in a modern context of networks. This will be a 90-minute workshop, and it will have breaks in between for activities. The first basis in which Arthashastra works, whether it is to define a state or whether it is to define any organization or institution, is to look at whatever that we have as an institution or as a state as a living Purusha. So, any organization, as per Chanakya's model, there is a theory that goes to as Saptanga theory. Sapta means 7, Anga means part. the most essential differentiation between our way of thinking and the Western way of thinking. The Western way of thinking works as discrete components. So if they take one area of study, they boundary it and they go deep into that. The Indian way of thinking is to look at the integrated whole and recognize the distinctness within that whole. That is why an organization is viewed as a Purusha, independent of your existence. We, the creators of the enterprise, are different from the enterprise that we have created. Second, the enterprise itself is a living being. Even under law, if you ask a chartered accountant or a company secretary, they will confirm to you that a legal entity of a company is a legal person by itself. The company can own assets, the company can bequeath assets, and so on and so forth. Right? So, the entity that is called an enterprise is to be seen as a living being which has got 7 angas or parts. And they have to act in unison in one frame. They cannot act independently. Without one anga, the whole Purusha is incomplete. Every anga cannot be in conflict with every other anga. Everything has to be in harmony. So that is why the Saptanga that is there has 7 parts to any organization, whether it is a country or your own organization. The Swami, who is the owner or the CEO or the king. Amatya is the leadership team or the ministers, if you want to call them. They are the experts that you bring together to achieve your enterprise goals. Janapada is the market that you operate or the boundary that you operate in. The Durga is the infrastructure that you have as your enterprise. Your buildings, your plants, your machinery, your assets, your IP assets as well as physical assets, your people, all of that forms part of Durga. The execution is the Danda, the team that goes and executes the plans or runs the operations. All of them are the execution layer which actually bring in the revenue, marshal the resources. Can you see now, sir?
Yes, sir.
Marshal the resources and ensure that there is profitability at the end of the day. Kosha is the treasury, that is the monetary wealth that you need to run your organization. And that has to be shepherded carefully, managed well, used well, should not be kept idle, should not be spent in a very risky manner. With proper prudence, the kosha has to be managed. Mitra is the extended enterprise or what in modern language you call as stakeholders. And Mitra is what makes an enterprise an enterprise. In today's session, we are only going to talk about that one aspect of the Saptanga theory. And that is the Mitra. Who is the Mitra that our organization should have? How those Mitras should be identified? How do we measure the strength of that relationship with those allies? And how do you manage this network of allies so that your enterprise objectives are met? And how do you keep increasing the number of people in your Mitra network? These are some of the concepts that we are going to walk through today. Chanakya says it is the Mitra which is the force multiplier. Mitra multiplies the power of all other 6 elements or angas. This is the 7th one, and it is your network of allies and how it amplifies your business and everything else is what we have to dwell in today. Now typically, what is a Mitra? As per Chanakya, what is an ally? Who is an ally? How do they form and which kind of networks they come into? One is personal. Personals are your family, your friends, your mentors, people whom you share a bond of blood or a bond of education or a bond of growing up together. Typically, that would be the case. This category of network connects are personal connects. Then you have the professional connects. Because your enterprise is in a particular domain, you may belong to an association related to the domain. Suppose you are in HVAC, you may be belonging to ISHRE. Similarly, if you are in events and marketing, there might be a professional association for that. A finance company may be part of a professional financial association. Similarly, you may be members of chambers of commerce or any business organizations. A Madras Management Association maybe is one. Alumni networks is another, where you studied, where you grew up, and therefore you share a common domain, and therefore you share similar careers maybe. So that's part of the alumni. And then your own industry peers, whom you compete with, whom you work with, who are your suppliers, all of those people, and who are in the same industry. That is your industry peers. The other one is what is called the value chain networks. In your enterprise, you are actually part of a value chain. You are producing something, you need inputs, you process it, you develop a product or service, you have a customer, you provide that product or service, and that is a value chain that goes through in an enterprise. In that value chain, again, you will have network connects. It could be a vendors, it could be your financiers, it could be your legal and audit and other suppliers of services like HR services, etc. It could even be customer contacts within the customer organizations that you have had over a period of time in different customers. You have special relationships with the key people there, and as they move in their career to different customers, that connects, keeps expanding your business as well. So essentially, you can classify for the purposes of a business, personal network, professional network, and value chain network. So who is a Mitra is essentially answered by a very simple definition that Chanakya gives. An ally or a friend is anyone whose interest is aligned with yours, either by birth, by bond, or by benefit. By aligning, are they going to get some benefit? Or they are aligned to you because they are born together? Or whether they are having a similar bondage in terms of common customers that you are servicing, etc. So that is what is an ally from an enterprise context. And remember these three network groups that you can classify them. So we will do a first level exercise. You just take 5 minutes. I'm going to give you a small assignment. Essentially, it's a table based on your own enterprise, based on your own personal capacity as a business owner. Just list down. Do not look at your phones. Just list down. Do not overanalyze and overthink. Just list down based on your gut the three categories of personal, professional, and value chain connects. People with names. List down as many as you can in no particular order, but look at it from those three angles. Whom do you think you can connect? Everybody got it? Please don't filter or judge, just name them. Your top of the mind recall of people whom you hold at good esteem and whom you think are part of your network. Yes, that's why it comes under personal. Family members, friends, relatives, school classmates, college classmates, anybody and anybody. from a professional perspective, whom you have worked with, whom you have worked for, who have worked for you, anybody can be a potential connect. Similarly, as an enterprise owner, people who are your mentors, people who are part of your ecosystem as a vendor or a supplier, your customer, your bankers, your lawyers, even the family physician and the doctors that you go to, acquaintances that you had, being part of other organizations, maybe your Rotary friend. Just name the person. I can give you, no problem. You can turn over and write also. But if you want extra, I have some. When you are taxing to get names, stop. When it is in a free flow and you are getting the names, you write. When you think, I have to think and find out now, then give it a couple of tries, afterwards stop it. That means you are now thinking to find. It is not a natural response. No. So many things you will find in this. Flow ninne betta. Flow ninne bettana nettilla. We'll move to the next. இப்போ ஃபோன் எடுத்தா எவ்வளோ ஆட் பண்ணுவேன்? இன்ட்ரெஸ்டிங் நோ? நமக்கு வந்து மைண்ட் ரீகாலில் வர பீப்பிளுக்கும் ஃபோனில் பார்த்து வர ரீகாலுக்கும் there is a difference. It's a point to note, point for us to observe. What is the distinction between these two categories? Why some of them are an immediate recall as a network or a potential partner? Why some require recall through reflection? ஏதோ ஒரு இடத்துல they have got a place in your heart or they have got a place in your mind share. That's why they come up very quickly. And there are others who come only on reflection. And once you take the phone, you might find people whom you would not have thought earlier as a network. Suddenly they appear to be like a network point. That's a very interesting observation you will have. So this is not an exercise to do in completeness. It is just to trigger some thought process in you. When you are looking at networks, you have to look at it as people you know. Then what happens next? Logically think பண்ணி பாருங்க. இந்த நெட்வொர்க்கில் ஏன் அவளை நெட்வொர்க்காக நம்ம எதிர்பார்க்கணும் அப்படின்னா, அவகிட்டேருந்து நமக்கு ஆதாயங்கள் வரலாம்னு ஒரு எதிர்பார்ப்பு இருக்கலாம். They might have an interest in our well-being னு ஒரு ஃபீலிங் இருக்கலாம். They are worthy of our trust அப்படின்னு ஒரு ஃபீலிங் இருக்கலாம். I can be of some use to them or I have been of some use to them and they look up to me and hence I am part of their network and they will be part of my network னு இருக்கலாம். Yeah. If you reflect on your list with these questions, you will get some interesting insights about yourself. How you approach them, how you relate to them, what is the core belief in you with regard to the other person. We don't do this exercise, but our mind has already done it. We are just not being heightened by awareness of our mind already made decisions. what Chanakya says is, an aware mind is the starting point of a reasoned thinking. An aware mind is the starting point of a reasoned thinking. When we have so many people around us as network, what is it that creates the bond? It's basically an emotion. An emotion based out of experience and translated into trust and benefits shared and benefits accepted. Right? But what causes that emotion to first surface in us is something which is very, very intangible and sometimes not definable. You look at a person, you feel comfortable, you open up. You look at another person, you are very reserved. But over a period of time, the person with whom you have been very reserved actually seems to be a more genuine person than the person whom you had a very good level of comfort in the first place. What makes those transitions is essentially how you interact with them with the first bias. நமக்கு ஒரு ஃபர்ஸ்ட் பயஸ் இருக்கும். அந்த பயஸை வச்சுருந்தா நம்ம பழக ஆரம்பிக்கும். ஆனால் அந்த பழக்கத்தோடைய எக்ஸ்பீரியன்ஸ் வந்து நம்ம பயஸை எடுக்கலாம், மாற்றலாம். ஸோ பயஸ் இருக்குங்கிற அவேர்னஸ் இருந்தால் போகிறோங்கிறது. Therefore, you will be able to learn and unlearn and how to evaluate your network. So the idea behind this exercise is to get you an inventory of your first top of the line network partners from your own enterprise perspective, whom you think are falling in these three categories of personal, professional and value partners, value chain partners. Chanakya says, all of these people who are your allies or your mitras or your network connects in modern language, if you want to say, are in concentric circles going out. The innermost is you. The innermost circle there are what is called Atyanta Hita. They are unconditional allies. They only wish well for us. They may not be able to give you a lot of connects or business or etc., but they are the ones whom you can absolutely trust. And they are the ones who are unquestionably with you. That is the closest circle, that is the one inside, which is Atyanta Hita. The second circle is what is called the trusted core or Hitamitra. That is, their interests align with us and they are trustworthy. You know them well, they know you well, you value them, they value you as a friend. Both of you are mutually benefited by that association. There is a clear meeting of interests. There is a clear meeting of ethical standards and values. That is the next line where the network connect is interest aligned. The third one is Arthamitra. Because there is a clear case for collaboration and they are from the similar domain that you are, and as a domain they are a very reliable partner. இது வந்து நிறைய பிஸ்னஸ் கம்யூனிட்டிஸில் நம்ம பார்க்கலாம். We are not a naturally business community, the Brahmin community. But if you look at the Chettiars or if you look at the Agarwals, you look at the Maheshwari group, look at some of the groups like Jetro and Jains, their linkages in that circle is very pronounced. They will be able to be available for them across the world. They will provide even risk capital for each other. They will pull people out of trouble. They will open up opportunities because the community feeling is there and it is enmeshed and enhanced by Kula Dharma in the ancient times, by collective guilds. For example, the Chettiarsல வந்து 500 அப்படின்னு ஒரு கம்யூனிட்டி இருக்கு தமிழ்நாடுல. 500 ஃபேமிலிஸ் செட்டியார்ஸ், தே ஃபார்ம்ட் a guild. ராஜராஜ சோழன் காலத்துக்கு முன்னாலிலிருந்தே they have been together. They have been in the chambers of commerce. They have sent emissaries to China. They have trade delegations sent to China. They have received trade delegations from China and presented them in front of court of Rajaraja Chola. இது வரலாறு. ஸோ அந்த ஐநூற்றுவர் அப்படிங்கிறது என்னன்னா அந்த தேர்ட் சர்க்கிள் வருது இல்லையா, ஸ்ட்ராட்டஜிக் நெட்வொர்க், அர்த்தமித்ரா, இதுல வருது, இந்த கேட்டகரியில வரும். Now the BBBA எடுத்துட்டேன்னா it is an attempt to create this Arthamitra network. Why are we here? Because we are in business. What binds us is the commonality of that being Brahmins. We share a certain outlook towards business and life, and that brings us the level of trust and comfort, which translates into a working network, and that network is what we are using to make Artha happen. ஓகேயா? ஸோ இதுக்கு பேர் அர்த்தமித்ரா. நம்ம பிபிபிங்கிறது வந்து அர்த்தமித்ரா. இப்போ நம்ம இங்கே எல்லாரும் இருக்கோம் இல்லையா, நம்ம எல்லாருமே அந்த அர்த்தமித்ரா சர்க்கிளில் 82 பேர் இருக்கோம்மா. நம்ம பாரதி சாப்டர்ல 83 பீப்புள் இந்த அர்த்தமித்ரா நெட்வொர்க்ல ஒவ்வொருத்தருக்கும் 82 பீப்புள் இருக்காங்க அர்த்தம். ஓகேயா? எக்ஸ்டெண்டட் நெட்வொர்க் பேர் வந்து சாமானிய மித்ரா. இது வந்து they are potential to be a collaborative people for us. They can be a network partner. They have not yet been activated. They are only potential. You don't do business with them, but they are part of that extended network. BBB ல இருக்கிற other chapters in Chennai, Tamil Nadu, India, அவெல்லாம் சாமானிய மித்ரா. Unless you start doing business with them, அப்போ வந்து அடுத்த சர்க்கிளுக்கு போயிடுவோம். இதெல்லாம் தாண்டி உதாசீனாங்கிற பதம் இருக்கு. உதாசீன பதம் என்னன்னா, உதாசீனப்படுத்துவது நம்ம தமிழ்ல சொல்றது அது கெட்டல்ல. அது உதாசீனம்னா they are neutral and they are cultivable. That is the outermost layer. So good networking from an enterprise point of view, as an enterprise head and as an enterprise leadership team. Suppose you are running an enterprise and you have a leadership team. Collectively, each leader must ensure that there is always a flow of network people coming into the last zone and moving across. The richness with which you have more and more networks is proportional increase in your ability to raise money, to do business, to expand growth, to open new markets, deliver new products, improve services, enhance customer value, all of that can happen. It is the strength of the many harnessed to the one that actually brings the value proposition out. That is why the strongest core is the central country or the central king, and the surrounding kings are kept as allies. They are not kept as vassals. They work as one. The protector of all of them is the Chakravartin. Under his chatra, under his umbrella, all the kingdoms are economically, culturally, politically united to ensure that there is common defense and all. That is the statecraft aspect of the Arthashastra. If a central core of a very big enterprise is there, the ecosystem of the MSMEs that are supporting it and the value partners that they create, all of them are centrally anchored around that big enterprise, and that creates an ecosystem. But Tata's irukku, Reliance irukku, na sutti hundreds of companies are there. இதுக்கு வந்து ஈஸ்ட் ஏஷியாவில் நிறைய எக்ஸாம்பிள்ஸ் இருக்கு. How it works very unitedly, how there is cross investments and how they cross hold each other. In Japan, Sriram sir will tell, Kerutsu is an arrangement of amalgamation of network around a central entity. In Korea, Chaebol அப்படின்னு சொல்லுவாங்க. In China, it is called Guangxi. Guangxi means connects. It's a web of connects. They always work together. People who have harnessed the networking philosophy have achieved the scale very quickly, have achieved delivery very quickly, and they have achieved success faster. That is why the East Asian companies and countries have progressed so well. Whether it is a Samsung or a Hyundai or a Sony or Honda or Huawei or anything else, or BYD from China, these are clear examples. Intrinsically, our society was organized like this. But in the interim, we have divorced ourselves. Still, as a natural activity, these kiritsus have been formed. But because public sector has always been leading us so far in many years, these have been enforced arrangements. And the private sector kiritsus or private sector collegiums or networks have not yielded the level of scale that we can have because of certain other aspects of policy. So my submission here is there are these 5 circles of trust in this network. As you progressively move from the center, the trust becomes qualified. Trust is there, but it becomes qualified. At the innermost core, the sanctorum actually, if you speak, there the Atyanta Hita is there, the trust is absolute. The word is enough. If somebody says, do this, because he is part of that Atyanta Hita group, you will do it. If he wants help, you won't ask why, what happened, what did you do in there, you just go there and help. That is the maximum trust. As you move out, trust has to be earned and validated at every transaction. Trust but verify is a system that is often quoted, but in Chanakya's theory, he says, based on the context, the trust must be calibrated. Based on the person, the trust must be calibrated. Based on your assessment of the capacity of the person, the trust must be calibrated. That is the art coming into the science. Okay. There is also a warning. He wrote names, you all did. The warning that Chanakya says is, if you mistake a Shatru for a Mitra, it is more dangerous than having no allies at all. If you have a false network partner, it's worse than having a no network. How do you actually find out whether that person is false or not? There are certain pointers. If a person praises you excessively but acts against your interest, so you do not pay heed to the words that are spoken, you watch very carefully about the action of that person. When that is not in line, that is not in sync, most likely he is not a Mitra. He is more close to the competition than to you, right? That is another signal that he could be someone whom you cannot trust. He may say, professionally, I like you, but I just have to deal with them. But in the actions, if you find that he is more close to them, then you don't put them in your network. You place them correctly. They extend help only when it is visible publicly. They want to be seen as your friend. They're not happy just being your friends. They want to be seen as your friends. Whatever you confide in them, if they are seen to be discussing it with others on your behalf to get some help, then Chanakya says that is a very, very dangerous sign. So these are things which you should always look at when you put some name in list. When you're going to place them in some of the circles that you saw, you need to have this. And he calls this concept of applying Viveka in understanding who your network partner is. Don't put a Shatru, don't mistake a Shatru for a Mitra, is something which he talks about. We'll take out the next activity now. I have got some Yeah.
The points that you said, sharing your secrets and those
potential network partners is extended network circle number 4. அது circle number 5 இல்லைன்னு நினைக்கிறேன். அதுதான் இருக்கு. அஞ்சாவது விட ஒருத்தர் பொட்டன்ஷியல் ஜோன் போடுறோம். ஒரு சர்க்கிளை வேணா வரைஞ்சிக்கணும். இப்போ from worksheet 1, which you did a week. P na professional, personal, R na professional, V na value. But the first is நிறைய சில பேர் ரெண்டு பக்கம்லாம் வாங்கி போட்டா இல்லையா, அவ எல்லாருமே இந்த சர்க்கிள்குள்ள அவ பேர் எழுதணும். அதுல வந்து அகைன்ஸ்ட் ஈச் பேர் பிஆ ஆரா விஆ போடணும். போடலாம் எது போடலாம், ஆனா எது மோஸ்ட் இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ரோல் வைஸ்ன்னு பார்த்து ஏதாவது ஒண்ணு கொடுக்கறது பெட்டர். உங்களுடைய ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஷீட் இருக்கு இல்லையா, பேர் எழுதிருக்கு இல்லையா, இவ்வளோ பேர் எழுதிருக்கு இல்லையா, இந்த பேர்ல இருக்கவா எந்த சர்க்கிள்ல உட்காரா அத்தியந்த. why should you balance that something is intertwined is the question. நம்மளோட திங்கிங்கே வேற மாதிரி. பெஸ்ட் வந்து இப்படி இது தனி இது அட்வர்சரியல், இதை பேலன்ஸ் பண்ணணும். ஒர்க் லைஃப் பேலன்ஸ் அப்படிங்கிறோம். பேலன்ஸ் இஸ் ஒர்க் அண்ட் லைஃப் அப்படின்னு நம்ம சொல்லுவோம். நமக்கு வந்து philosophy is not discrete from way of life. அறம் சார்ந்த வாழ்க்கை அதான். ஸோ ஒரு பிலாசபிக்கும் ஆக்ஷனுக்கும், அதாவது ஆன்மீகத்துக்கும் லௌகிகத்துக்கும் வேற கிடையாது, பின்னி பிணையப்பட்டது தான். இது நம்ம திங்கிங். ஸோ இது வாழ்க்கையிலேயே இந்த இதுலேயும் இப்படி தான் வருது. நம்ம ஆல்வேஸ் we tend to think we have to unwire ourselves to wire ourselves back to our original systems which held sway in this land for thousands of years. So ஒட்டேலா சர்க்கிள்லாம் ஃபில் ஆகிட்டா நிமிஷம் சார் சொல்லுங்க.
Are we also trying to say in the sense, within the circle you are, trust leads to stronger relationships, and when you move out of the circle, actually it's a hallucination of relationships, but actually it's not a relationship and trust is lacking. Repeat.
Very important question. இங்க சொல்லுங்க, நான் ஆன்சர் பண்றேன்.
See.
இருக்குண்ணா.
Hello? Okay. See, the question I asked is, as long as you are in the inner circle, maybe level 1, maximum level 2, when the trust level is high, does it signify that the relationship is very strong? And the moment you move out of it to the level 3 and 4 and 5, you may feel that you have a relationship, but if the trust is not there, isn't that relationship not valuable at all? It's more of an hallucination. We try to see that we are in relationship, but it doesn't really help or add value to us. That was my question.
So Chanakya's response to this is actually like this. Trust and relationship has to coexist, but they need not be at the same level at all times. ரெண்டு குவாலிஃபிகேஷன் சொல்றாரு. ட்ரஸ்ட் வந்து இருக்கலாம், ஆனா அதுல வந்து ஒரு ஆபரேஷனல் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்போ ஒரு கமர்ஷியல் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் இருக்கணுங்கிற அவசியம் கிடையாது. அது கம்மியாக கூட இருக்கலாம். வேற நிறைய கமர்ஷியல் ரிலேஷன் இருக்கலாம், ஆனா ட்ரஸ்ட் கம்மியா இருக்கலாம். வாட் ஹி சேஸ் இஸ் இட் cannot be without each other. The quantum of trust may be calibrated and the relationship may also get calibrated accordingly. But it cannot be without trust you cannot have a relationship. The answer to the question is, without trust you cannot have a relationship. In a relationship without trust, that relationship is false. அதான் அவர் சொல்றாரு. பட் ஆனா எந்த அளவுக்கு ட்ரஸ்ட் பண்றோமோ அந்த அளவுக்கு தான் அந்த ரிலேஷன்ஷிப்போட ஸ்ட்ரென்த் இருக்கும் அப்படிங்கிறார். Yeah, you need to have both to have a relationship. Otherwise, the trust must exist for them to exist in the network. You must have a relationship for them to exist in the network. But it may not be equal. You may have a lower trust, higher relationship. Sometimes lower relationship and higher levels of trust. Innermost circle la அந்த மாதிரி நிறைய பேர் இருக்கலாம். ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் கமர்ஷியல் ரிலேஷன்ஷிப் இருக்காது, ட்ரஸ்ட் ஃபேக்டர் நிறைய இருக்கும். அது வந்து எப்படின்னா ஆபத் காலத்துல அவ வந்து உதவுவா. When you have lost all options, you have nowhere else to go, you will turn to your inward circle. அது வந்து ஒரு சைக்காலஜி, ஒரு physical danger இருந்தா கூட what happens is, I think Krishna will attest to this, when somebody is attacking you, the natural instinct of everybody is to go back into the womb position. Correct, sir? Even in martial art techniques, they say reduce the area of harm. by closing in and going into. So the natural tendency is for us to go back into the most trusted network. Most trusted person was a mother and father or brothers, siblings. So most trusted lieutenants of all the politicians come எப்படி சுற்றி கிட்டி எத்தியாக இருந்தாலும் உதயநிதிக்கு தான் போய் நிற்கும். அது வெளில வர முடியாது. பட் தட்ஸ் ஹியூமன் நேச்சரை அவ்வளோ அனலைஸ் பண்ணி எழுதியிருக்காரு. ஸோ இதை முடிச்சிட்டே இல்லையா? யூ ரிட்டன் we can move. Yeah, sir. Now comes, you have classified them, you put them into the circles. What is the strength of that network connect? அப்படிங்கிறது தான் இப்போ பார்க்க போகிறோம். இதுக்கு வந்து 6 பெர்ஸ்பெக்டிவ்லேருந்து பார்க்க சொல்கிறேன். ஒன் இஸ் சகாயதா, the capacity to help. 2 வந்து trustworthiness, விஸ்வாசா. How trustworthy they are. How trusting you are is not the point. How trustworthy they are is the point. Anukulata, where is that alignment of interest? What is the score of that alignment of interest? Is there an alignment of interest or not? Apro Kriya Shakti, the allies or the mitras' willingness to act for you. 5th வந்து Prabhava, the influence and the reach that person has to actually be of help to you. He might have all the 4. He may have a capacity to help. He may be very trustworthy. There is a alignment of interest. By helping you, he also will get benefited. Allah, he might help. He may be even willing to act. But if he doesn't have the influence and reach, there is a limitation to the strength of that relationship or the value of that network connect in your network. அதுதான் பிரபவா அப்படிங்கிறது. அதுக்கப்புறம் கான்டெக்ட் ட்ரிவன் ரெலவன்ஸ் இருக்கணும். அதுக்கு பேர் கால தேச யுக்தா அப்படிங்கிறது. ஸோ ஒவ்வொரு பர்சன் இப்போ நம்ம போட்டிருக்கோம் போது ஒரு சர்க்கிள், இந்த 6 பாயிண்ட்ஸ் வச்சுட்டு we have to score them and you might probably get a spider map like this. Actually I have generated one AI based board which I will try to refine it and share it. அது ஒரு ஷீட் மாதிரி போட்டுருக்கலாம். நீங்கள் வந்து இந்த ஸ்கோரிங் இப்போ பண்ண போகிற நெக்ஸ்ட் ஆக்டிவிட்டியில் இது வந்து பண்ணினா அதுவே சொல்லும். அந்த இதுலேயே போட்டு காமிச்சு இந்த மாதிரி ஒரு ஸ்பைடர் டயக்ராம் ஃபார் ஈச் ஒன் ஆஃப் யுவர் கனெக்ட்ஸ் அண்ட் கான்டாக்ட்ஸ். ஸோ ஒரு ஆங்கர் ஆலை அப்படின்னா the one whom you can completely, one of the most powerful network partner is called an anchor ally. அது வந்து இப்போ 1 to 5 ஸ்கேலிங் பண்ணணும்னு வச்சுக்கோங்க. 5 being the most highest score, 1 being the lowest in each one of these dimensions. So maximumனா 30. ஸோ யாராவது வந்து 25லேருந்து 30 ஸ்கோர் பண்ணான்னு வச்சுக்கோங்களேன், that network person in your network is an anchor ally. Somewhere between 18 to 24 இருந்தேன்னா they are an active ally. They are very very good, but they can improve. 11 to 17 they are passive. நீங்க தட்டினேன்னா அவ ஹெல்ப் பண்ணுவாங்க. ப்ரோஆக்டிவாக இருக்க மாட்டான், பட் they are there and they have all these elements but at a different scale score. Latent வந்து 6 to 10 இருக்கா, they are there in a network. Either you have not done anything to activate them or they have not shown anything of the 6 items so that they are in that space. Okay, so each one that you have got now in your list and marked into those circles, now we can actually look at the strength of your relationship using Chanakya's principles of assessing the strength of a network partner using these 6 items, scoring them with 5 being the highest, 1 being the lowest score. This is how it will come as a result. I am going to give you Ilang kaunod ka? புரியலையா? இப்போ the names is not something to tell that from a perspective of your business, your ஆத்துக்காரர் might not be an anchor ally. பட் அவர் வந்து இங்க எங்கேயாவது வந்துருவார், அட்லீஸ்ட் ஒரு பாசிவ் வேலையாக வந்துருவார். எனிமிலாம் கிடையாது. டவுட்ஃபுல்லா இருந்தா அட்லீஸ்ட் ஒரு லேட்டஸ்ட் லெவல்ல மார்க்கா கொடுப்பார். டாலரேட் பண்றவங்க நம்மள அதுக்கு மார்க் போடணுமா வேண்டாமா? அதே மேலே போட்டிருக்கேன், காலம் எல்லாம் அதே மேலே போட்டிருக்கேன். அவ வில்லிங்கா இருப்பாளா அப்படிங்கிற கான்டெக்ஸ்ட் பேஸா தேவ சொன்ன மாதிரி பார்த்துட்டு we do. So it is not a fixed statement position. It will move depending on the context you are in and they are in with you. Always remember, whether they are doing it in this kind of a methodical, logic-driven way which Chanakya has taught, they are still doing in some way an assessment and placing you in their network. So you need to understand from their perspective where do you stand in this kind of a logical analysis in their network. In the concept of B schools, 80-20 Pareto rule law, 80% of your business comes from 20% of your customers and all similar, something like that. What do they do? What do they recommend? They say key account management principle must be adopted. So for the key accounts, you need to grade them, and then you should monitor the quality of your relationship. You should set objectives related to quantitative measures and qualitative measures. And you should have plans, strategic key account management plans, and move this thing. This is what management schools keep teaching us. What he is saying is very dissimilar to that, but what he is giving you is a compass or a method or a measuring rod which is driven only by reason, not by emotion. That is what he always insists on. He says all action stems from emotion. All action stems from thought stems from emotion. Some people would have known this, I have said that. And all emotion stems from your contextual understanding and awareness. It triggers certain emotions. The mind creates the thoughts based on the emotions. Emotions translate the thoughts into actions, and you act out. If you put a filter, that is a method of thinking, that is what is called Anuvikshiki, that is what is the discipline, the Swami or the first member of the Saptanga, that is you, must possess at all times while making decisions. But to understand the fact of how allies can help or your networks can help expand your business, this is a dynamic method of keeping track of your relative strength with regard to that network connect, and also analyzing from your perspective what is your strength from his perspective, so that if there is a harmony in that, then that network connect actually starts working harmoniously with you. Break veduma?
Yes, sir. Just only one point.
Yeah.
Diana highlighted that point in terms of contextually where you have an emotion when you do some business, you have an emotional support from the family, right? Are we trying to say empathy builds trust? Empathy is also very important in trust. Because what Diana highlighted was more of empathy, not in terms of business support.
It's a cycle.
Because I believe other than trust, there is a lot of empathy also that is required. Maybe not only from a personal relationship, even from a professional relationship also. So in both contextual, are we assuming that in the context, empathy is given that it should be there in the part of relationship or a trust?
Definitely it will be there. See, empathy is a subjective.
From Chanakya's perspective, actions must be controlled only after logical reasoning. Any emotion, whether it is a sense of empathy or compassion, positive, negative, neutral, doesn't matter. Any emotion which triggers a certain certain thought, I can trust on somebody, or I need to take this person's help, whatever is the thought that comes in, emotion has triggered it, but you have to examine it with reason whether that person must be given on. So, you cannot take out that empathy is forming the basis of that earning for trust. You cannot take that out.
Then my larger question was, in this empathy, you are giving the person a personal comfort, but that does really help them in the network or in the business in terms of guidance. Can somebody be better off in that contextual situation, saying that, okay, you lost this order because of X, Y, Z reasons, let's work together on this. Can that be better?
The answer is, what he says is, sometimes the fact that you have somebody close who you can trust completely and they are there for you without question, that is the innermost, the hita, the fact that you are able to confide in them, what it does in the individual is, they move from their emotional state, which is a disturbed state, which is not the mean state, whether you are very happy or very disturbed, very angry, it doesn't matter. All those cases are on the sinusoidal curve, either up or the crest or the crown. It helps that person to graduate towards a stable mode, where the emotional impact is reduced, and then reason is allowed to kick in. Examine the thought which emotion has triggered. If it reason still justifies it, act on the thought. That is what this person with the empathy, with the trustworthiness plays a role. They may not have the capacity or knowledge to actually give you the solution, but the fact of bringing you into an emotional state where you can discover the solution yourself is what he says is the advantage. This examples la paakanona, the first chapter of Bhagavad Gita. Arjuna, all his life is prepared towards that point where he has to fight. He is preparing for that day. All the penances, all the astrams, everything, the world's best archer, all that to the point when he has to fight, he loses the will to fight. Indecision clouds his thinking. He completely, the classica will kira poturran, உட்காந்துடுறான், அப்படியே எனக்கு உஷ்ணமா இருக்குங்கிறான், நான் செத்து போயிடணுங்கிறான், இது என்னது வாழ்க்கை அப்படின்னு அந்த வீராக பர்வத்தில் வரும். அப்போ what Krishna does is, he does not say anything, he just listens. And then slowly says, instructively, he doesn't give reasoned answer at all. He says, get up and fight, it's your duty to fight. Who do you think you are? What is your job now is to fight. You should have thought all about this beforehand. When I went and went for peace, what did you say? You said, I want peace, but you never meant it. இதெல்லாம் கேட்குறாரு, கேள்வி கேட்டு நீ போய் சண்டை போடு, யார் தாத்தா யார் மாமா இப்போதான் புரியுதா உனக்கு, ஆசைப்பட்டேல்ல அப்படின்னு கேட்குறாரு. ஸோ that aspect of the trusted friend there, he is the trusted friend. But he is not asking him or giving him any solution, he is only helping him find that solution to start with fight. It was just for example. ராம் சத்ருவுக்கு சொன்னேன் இல்லையா, சத்ருவை வந்து உள்ள போட்டுக்கிறது எவ்வளவு பெரிய டேஞ்சர் இருந்தாங்க. மகாபாரதத்திலேயே ஒரு பியூட்டிஃபுல் எக்ஸாம்பிள் இருக்கு. துரியோதனா பிளேசஸ் இஸ் மாமா சகுனி in the innermost circle. Where did it lead him? Duryodhana uses Karna and puts him in the innermost circle. Where did it lead Karna? Was Karna qualified enough to be in the innermost circle? No, he was a devious, evil guy. We made him a hero because of movies and all. But Karna in Mahabharata is a devious, evil guy. He called himself superior and all. He was not superior. He lost a lot of battles. So Duryodhanaku வந்து ஒரு misplaced friendship, அவனும் ஒரு misplaced, both were in their network, it led to their destruction. So these are examples we can quote from our own personalized பார்த்தா கூட you will find so many examples in your own enterprise, in your own life journey, things which have happened, which highlights these points. So what he has done is he has observed the psyche of men and the psyche of how to build a nation, separated the two and created mechanisms to logically approach. That is the science in which Arthashastra is actually propounded and developed. So that is what we can bring into our management. Enterprises can be driven by passion. Enterprises can be driven by purpose. enterprises can be driven by impact that it wants to create, but its actions might be always guided by reason. And for that you need allies, and that is what we are exploring today. If you look at the overall enterprise, all 7 angles, 7 workshops I have to do. And then I have to work on the mind. Any body must not exist with mind. Yeah? I have to work on the mindset and the skill set. அதுவும் பண்றேன் 10 பேர் தான் எடுத்துப்பேன் அதுக்கு ஒர்க் பண்ணிட்டு இருக்கோம் we will do that if people are interested very intensive workshop on how to build yourself into that position of Swami break எடுந்த வேணுமா
so quick 5 minutes break
கான்டாக்ட் பர்சனலா ப்ரொஃபஷனலா வேல்யூவா அப்படின்னு ஒரு கான்டாக்ட் காலம் இருக்கும் அந்த ஸ்ட்ரென்த் ஆஃப் த ஸ்கோர் இருக்கு இல்லையா அந்த காலம் அதை போடுங்க அப்புறம் ஒரு ரிமார்க் எழுதுங்க the remark you can keep anything you want to write there. You can say, do you think you have invested more in nurturing that network or you have under-invested in nurturing that contact or are you adequately invested in nurturing that contact or you have not at all invested in nurturing the contact is there. Contact. The circle sheet ku pinnadi ஒரு column sheetல இந்த டாப் ஸ்கோர் வந்தது இல்லையா அதில் ஒரு டாப் 3 or 5 எடுத்து அந்த காலம்லாம் ஃபில் பண்ணி அந்த ரிமார்க்ஸில் adequately invested, non-adequately invested in building that network connect or it has happened without any investment. ஒரே ஆப்ஷன் தான் இருக்கு சர்க்கிளுக்கு பின்னாடி சர்க்கிள் பின்னாடி ஸோ that will give you some insight into where you have invested, how aware of you of your network connects, how aware of you of the dynamic nature of that network connect as Rajesh just pointed out, how aware of you about the strength of that relationship and where do you stand. Always mirror that question. From that perspective, பார்த்தா நான் எங்க இருக்கேன் இந்த ஸ்ட்ரென்த் நான் கொடுக்குறேனே அந்த ஸ்ட்ரென்த் அவன் எனக்கு கொடுக்குறானா அப்படிங்கிறது பார்க்கலாம் ஸோ அலையன்ஸ் ஸ்ட்ரென்த் ஸ்டோர் நம்ம பார்த்துட்டோம் தட்ஸ் வாட் யூ டிட் நவ் நவ் யூ ஹவ் அசைன்ட் த ஸ்ட்ரென்த் யூ ஹவ் அனலைஸ்ட் யுவர் நெட்வொர்க் பார்ட்னர்ஸ் நவ் யூ ஹாவ் டு லேர்ன் வாட் how do you actually help in maintaining and developing and investing in your networks. In the scores that you have got, please continue that when you go home for your own good. You have put the entire list. Please, with absolute honesty, do that rating and then categorize them and understand where you need to invest your time, effort and your own goodwill and trust in which network partner that you have based on doing these 7 things which Chanakya talks about. How do you develop your allies? How do you maintain your allies? இந்த 7 யுக்திகள் கொடுக்குறாரு. ஒன்று வந்து நம்ம பிபிபியில் வந்து எவ்ரி மீட்டிங் சொல்கிறோம் யூ கம் டு கிவ் மோர் யூ கிவ் தி மோர் யூ கெட் அப்படின்னு சொல்கிறோம் இல்லையா ஃபர்ஸ்ட் ஸ்டெப் இன் பில்டிங் அ நெட்வொர்க் and building a network connect and strengthening that relation is upakara. In time, being there, being in his mental, your network context, mind space to be the first point of call for help and your ability to help. That is the first thing and the foremost thing that can actually lift and put somebody's network connect into a strong relationship. The second one is honoring them publicly. Sammanam. Whoever is in your network, suppose there is a very good person who comes and provides cleaning service to your company. It doesn't take much, just a symbolic gesture in your next town hall meeting, உங்க கம்பெனியில் நடக்கும்போது அந்த பர்சனை கூப்பிட்டு தேங்க்யூ ஃபார் யுவர் சர்வீஸ்னு சொன்னால் இட்ஸ் a very powerful way of nurturing that network. Today you might not know the full potential of what that person can do, but if you have made such a significant impact by honoring that person and for the value that you give to him, he will work 10 times more and figure out how he can help you. You just reverse that equation. He will be looking to help you. That is the second thing which is saying சம்மானம். அதோடைய பெனிஃபிட் வந்து நிறைய விஷயங்கள் இதில் இருக்கு. நான் மேலோட்டமாக தான் உங்களுக்கு சொல்லிட்டு இருக்கேன். சாணக்கியா டிஸ்கிரைப்ஸ் ஈச் திங் இன் டீடைல், ப்ரோஸ் அண்ட் கான்ஸ் அதெல்லாம் போவார். நெக்ஸ்ட் வந்து பீயிங் இன் டச் ரெகுலர்லி. நியமித்த ஸ்பர்ஷா. இங்கே நிறைய பேர் வந்து பிபிபியில் ரொம்ப வருஷமா இருக்கு. பாரதி சாப்டர்ல நிறைய பேர் இருந்திருக்கு. இஃப் யூ ஆல் ரிகலெக்ட், நான் பாரதி சாப்டர்ல ஒரு கேசஸ் பண்ணும்போது பில்டிங் அண்ட் நெட்வொர்க்னு சொன்னேன். அந்த பில்டிங் அண்ட் நெட்வொர்க் செஷன் வந்து 8 நிமிஷத்துக்கு எடுத்தேன். தெர் வாஸ் நோ பிபிடி. ஐம் ஜஸ்ட் ட்ரைங் இஃப் பீப்புள் கேன் ரிகலெக்ட் தட். அதில் ஐ ஹவ் given 2 practical suggestions. Does anybody remember? Those who have been in BBB for long?
Make a phone call every day.
Exactly. Make a phone call every day to one of your network partners. Don't sleep at least without calling 2 people. Once a week, go and meet them in person. These 2 things I had suggested then. Some of you may remember, many of you may not. That's what he says. I didn't say that. நியமித்த ஸ்பர்ஷான்னு அவர் சொல்லியிருக்கு, சாணக்கிய சொல்லியிருக்கு. ராஜாராம் கேட்க வேண்டியது அவசியமே இல்லை. எனக்கு மேலே ஒரு மகான் இருந்திருக்கார், அவர் சொல்லியிருக்காரு. Then be a person who keep the confidence. Somebody comes and discloses something to you. That means they are reposing something most valuable in their life. That is confidence, and you must be worthy of actually following, keeping the confidence, keeping the secrets to yourself. Next one is actively collaborate. Seek out how you can make collaborative opportunities with your network connects. That is a wonderful way of strengthening that connect. If you can start collaborating with partners, they may not be very aligned or a CCT structure la na sollala. ஸ்ரீனிவாசன் பலராமனோடைய டொமைனுக்கும் நான் பண்ணுற டொமைனுக்கும் பெரிய கனெக்ஷன்லாம் ஒன்றும் கிடையாது. வீணா பார்க்குற கஸ்டமர்ஸோ ஸ்ரீராம் வைபவ் என்டர்பிரைசஸ் ஸ்ரீராம் பார்க்குற கஸ்டமர்ஸுக்கும் முத்துகிருஷ்ணன் சாருக்கோ ஒரு கனெக்ஷன் இருக்க வேண்டியது அவசியம் இல்லை. பட் யூ ஸ்டில் சீக் டு கொலாபரேட். வாட் கேன் பி டன்? That very act of actively seeking collaboration is a powerful strengthening of a relationship. That is called sahakarana. Next is the most important thing. In the list போட்டிருக்கோம்ல, நம்ம சில பேர் 4 பக்கம் கூட எழுதலாம், 100 பேர் கூட வரலாம். இங்கே தான் அவர் சொல்றார், யூஸ் விவேகா. விவேகா is choosing wisely but not widely. Choose your network connects in a manner which is a good balance of trust and all the 7 attributes that the person can give. Strength la paathom illaya, avalukku prabhava irukkum, willingness to help irukkum, capacity to help irukkum, adu ellathiyume balance panni choose. Don't wide up choose பண்ணாத, ஒரு strong focus ஓட இருக்கிற சில பேரை choose பண்ணி அதை வந்து நீங்க strengthen பண்ணணும். அது நல்லா strong ஆனோன்னா take the next lot. So that is what Viveka is all about. Always he says be alert about the Shatru Viveka. The slide that I talked about earlier, the black sheep in your network. If there is any, you must always ensure you find that out in good time. இதில் as a CEO broader context la பார்க்கும்போது data analysis, action based analysis, அதுக்கப்புறம் reportage based analysisனு 3 பாகமாக பிரித்து ஒரு கிங் வந்து டிசைட் பண்ணணும். யாரை நம்பலாம், எவ்வளோ நம்பக்கூடாது, எந்த வேலையை நம்பலாம், எந்த வேலையை நம்பக்கூடாது, எந்த வேலை டிரான்சாக்ஷனலாக இருக்கான், எந்த வேலை ஆதாயத்துக்கோசரம் இருக்கான், எந்த வேலை ஒரு அவனுக்கு ஸ்ட்ரென்த் வேணும், அவன் வீக்காக இருக்கிறதுனால இன்னைக்கு வேலையாக இருக்கான், அப்படிங்கிறதும் பிரித்து அதில் வந்து சத்ருவாக இருக்கிற வேலையை வந்து எப்போ எடுக்கணுங்கிறது அதில் there are certain edicts that he gives. But for us, what it means in today's life is audit your network very, very frequently. When we say audit என்ன பண்ணுறா, செக் பண்ணுறா. அந்த நெட்வொர்க் கனெக்ட் வந்து அப்பப்போ ஒரு டெஸ்ட் வைக்கணும், குட்டி குட்டி டெஸ்ட்டு. வாய்ஸ் டெஸ்ட் ஏன்னா மனுஷன் மாறினே இருக்கான். இன்னைக்கு இருந்தவன் அதே மாதிரி இருந்துட்டான்னா பிரச்சனையே இல்லையே வளருது. You can easily predict. They change through circumstances and time. So people's ability to do things or being ethical, all that can also be. So don't take it for granted that once you have assessed, yes, he is a trustworthy fellow, he is always trustworthy. Keep some audits. That's the 7th step. If you do this 7 steps of network stewardship, that is where your actual networks உடைய strength, அதோடைய efficiency, அதோடைய benefits நீங்க பார்க்கலாம். If now you look at it, இதா ஒரு ஆக்ஷன் பிளானோட ஒரு ஒன் ஆஃப் தி இண்டிகேட்டட் ஸ்டெப். ஒரு கோட் ஆஃப் சாணக்கியா, the ally who is not reached for long forgets the alliance exists. So you have to be there. So யார் இன்னர் சாங்டம்ல இருக்கா, யார் ட்ரஸ்டட் கோர்ல இருக்கா அப்படிங்கிறது நம்ம பார்த்தோம் இல்லையா. அந்த இது அது பிரகாரம் யூ கேன் டேக். ஐ ஹவ் given you this worksheet. இதில் வந்து ஜஸ்ட் ஒரு 3 போட்டிருக்கேன். இந்த டாப் 3 யூ கேன் டேக் அண்ட் தென் பேஸ்ட் ஆன் தட் ஒரே ஒரு ஷீட். இந்த 7 ஸ்டெப்ஸ் வந்து நீங்கள் நெக்ஸ்ட் 90 டேஸில் யாரை யூ வில் செலக்ட் and write against each of those 7 steps that is there, that you can actually start implementing with regard to that network. Either வந்து you can make a copy or whatever and keep filling this sheet. So for every network contact you will have a 90-day plan which you will start implementing, so that that network contact becomes a very good connect, a live connect, a strong connect, a connect that yields benefits to your enterprise. Those who are in the circle number 5, alla paathelna circle number 5 இருக்கிறவங்க வந்து you must have a target to reach them and slowly start developing their your connect and bring them into the inner circles. At least you must bring them into the extended network. Then you need to bring them into the strategic network. அது எப்போ மீட் பண்ணலாம்னா I have given a brief ஒரு indicative approach. You have to some you have to meet weekly, some bi-weekly. நான் சொன்ன மாதிரி டெய்லி அட்லீஸ்ட் ஒரு ஃபோன் காலாவது பண்ணி பேசுங்க ஒரு டிபேட்டை. You don't have to have an agenda, but just call them. Say that you are there, because last statement is true. Every time you reach, you are fresh in this mind space. The more you are in the mind space, more likely he is going to help you, more likely he is going to call on you, more likely are you going to be ready to help that person. And you will be more aware of what his current status is. Because as they learn more, as they grow more, as their networks grow, their reach and influence grows, all of that will become your force multiplier and also be accessible to you only when you have done these 7 things and made sure that you are in constant touch and ensuring that you are meeting them. So this is the actionable aspect. So நம்ம கான்செப்ட் ஆஃப் மித்ரா எடுத்துட்டு அதுலேருந்து இருக்கிற சில விஷயங்கள் மட்டும்தான் நான் இன்னைக்கு உங்களோட walked you through, and in each of those concepts I have made an attempt that it should be relevant. I should not give a dry talk and go. It should be relevant and something you can apply in your own business amongst your own networks. So that is why the judgment of who the person is, where they belong, how the scoring, all that left to you. And these 4 worksheets that you have is the takeaway that you will have from this. And what you will use, what you will implement is what will actually benefit. நம்ம வந்து படிக்கும்போது ஓரளவுக்கு புரியும், கேட்கும்போது ஓரளவுக்கு புரியும், பண்ணி பார்க்கும்போது தான் அதை உணர முடியும், உணர்ந்தால்தான் அது பயனளிக்கும். அதுதான். So that is the worksheet 4. அதை முடிக்கலாம் நீங்கள். This is probably the longest. This is what you leave with today. So on the first 3 மட்டும் வேணா you can fill it today so that you have something ready. ஏன்னா வெளியில் போனேன்னா அதை தூக்கி போட்டுவிடுங்க. செகண்ட் பண்ணா சர்க்கிள் அது தூண் போட்டிருக்காரு சர்க்கிளே போடலையா அப்படியா நான் தரேன். What I have helped you with is essentially to look at your enterprise and see what network it can build. Some of them, most of the network connects are only work in progress ங்கிறத ரியலைஸ் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். அதை எப்படி பில்ட் பண்ணலாங்கிறதுக்கு சில யுக்திகள் சாணக்கியாஸ் பிரின்சிபல்ஸ்லேயே நம்ம பார்த்துருக்கோம். What அர்த்தசாஸ்திரால ஒரு கோட் வரும், of all the elements that make a kingdom strong, the quality of one's allies cannot be substituted by any other strength. So கோஷ பலமோ உங்க துர்க்க பலமோ உங்க ஜனபத பலமோ, all of that cannot substitute the strength of the allies. Even the most powerful, even today, even in today's geopolitical reality, even the world's biggest sole superpower cannot exist or do their things that they want to do without allies. So the importance of the network is not something which is a nice to have. Your mitra is not there to support your business. They are the business actually. So that's a very powerful thought. We all joined this PBB to be part of a network of like-minded people with shared ethical and social values, and we have come together with an express purpose of behaving and working in a network. What we have covered today gives you the framework in which how do you actually help, how do you actually behave in the network, and how do you actually make the network help you. If we get this right, then the impact that BBB can provide for you in your business is multiple times more than what you have imagined it to be so far. So the power yet to be unlocked is very high. Iceberg மாதிரி கீழே 9 பாகம் இருக்கு, நீ ஒரு பாகம் மட்டும் பார்த்து இது சேர்ந்துருக்கு. 9 பாகம் வெளில எடுக்கிறதுக்கு this is a good key. So I thank you all. This slide I will just send it by WhatsApp. இன்னைக்கு என்ன கற்றுட்டோம்னா இந்த ஒரு ஸ்லைடில் போட்டிருக்கேன் that there are 5 circles where you place your network partners, and these are the 7 practices that will help you keep your network alive, kicking and benefiting you, and you benefiting your network partners. So இது வந்து what your cheat sheet வேணா சொல்லிக்கலாம். So this is what I have to share.
ஒரு சில இம்பார்ட்டன்ட் ஸ்லைட்ஸ் மட்டும் கேன் யூ
all PPT கொடுத்துறேன். நான் இன்னொன்னும் பண்ணியிருக்கேன், இந்த என்டையர் ஒர்க் ஷாப்பே ஒரு 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 எப்படி நடத்தணுங்கிற ஒரு மேனுவலே நான் பண்ணிட்டேன் with the help of AI, so that if somebody else wants to run this program to some other place, I am not the owner of all this content. So நீங்களும் அதை சொல்லிக்கலாம். அது எப்படி நடத்தணுங்கிறதுக்கு டெக்கோ இருக்கு, அந்த மேனுவலும் இருக்கு. ப்ளீஸ் யூஸ் இட். நான் பெற்ற பின்பம் பெரிய இவைங்கிற முறையில் தான் நான் பண்ணியிருக்கேன். ஐ எம் ஸ்டூடெண்ட் as much as you. I have finished on 12. Over to you, Gayatri. Thank you, President, Secretary, Treasurer, for giving me all